guys, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am so excited because I was tagged by Rebecca over at Frugalista blog. I will link her channel down below. Definitely go check her out. She is fabulous and her sense of humor always cracks me up. And you know me, I love a good sense of humor. Humor. Said that with such gusto. Anyway, so Tati over at Glam Life Guru created a tag, the everything under $10 makeup tag, in which case every beauty product that we used on our face was less than $10. I will put this disclaimer out there that I did not necessarily follow that with my brushes. However, I only used a selection of very affordable brushes by e.l.f., Wet n Wild, Real Techniques, but all of my beauty products were less than $10. I loved actually doing this tag because it forced me to pull out some products that I haven't used in a long time, because when I looked at my current makeup bag and the current daily products that I used, lots of them did not cost $10. In fact, lots of them cost in multiples of $10. So thank you again to Rebecca for tagging me and for Tati creating this tag. I don't want to admit, but I'm going to anyway, that when I saw Tati initially release the tag, she had a very long list of people that she tagged in her description box. I looked for my name. It wasn't there, but I looked. Is that cheesy? It's like when you check your lotto ticket and my heart literally beats a little bit faster every time I check a lotto ticket, even though I know there's virtually no chance in hell that I would have won. You just kind of get a little excited right before you actually confirm that you lost. And yeah, I really shouldn't be surprised that Tati didn't tag me. So I am going to disappear and show you naked face, which is pretty scary, and you will see my entire beauty routine of products less than $10. By the way, I used about 4,000 individual products, and even though they were all less than $10, that money adds up real quick. Okay, enough talking about money. Let's get into the tag. Okay, so let's do this. $10 or less. So I'm gonna start with a primer by Rimmel. I really like the Rimmel primers. This is the Stay Matte primer. It is not overly mattifying. It goes on bright white, which I find hilarious because it really does blend in. It turns my skin, however, bright red, but it is not the primer's fault. That is just my skin's fault. Plus, I love how this primer, even though it's mattifying, it blends in really nicely and doesn't like ball up and get gross. So I did a deep cleanse the other day, and I whipped out my Clarisonic, which I haven't used in a long time because I felt like my skin needed to be cleaned out, and it did, because I am now broke out all over the place. So I'm gonna go with the Milani Conceal and Perfect, which gets in right under the radar at $9.99. And there are some places that might charge a little bit more, so you just don't buy it from there. You get it from the place that charges $9.99 in order to be legit, you know. I'm not sure how much perfecting we're doing, but we're definitely doing some concealing, because this is a major heavy-duty foundation, which is pretty cool since it's less than $10. I'm gonna prime my eyelids with the Photo Focus Wet n Wild Eye Primer. I think this came to my attention as a result of MsGoldGirl, Marnie. I'm gonna conceal my under eyes and then also take away a little bit of that redness on my eyelids with, and I really couldn't decide because Maybelline owns the market, I feel, on concealer at affordable pricing. I'm gonna go with the Master Conceal, but the Age Rewinds are just as fabulous. Do you ever just look at yourself like when you're in the middle of doing your makeup and completely freak yourself out? It doesn't even look like me. That is some scary madness right there. I'm gonna spot conceal the imperfections on my face with also another Maybelline concealer. This is the Fit Me concealer. I don't prefer to use this under my eyes, but I think it's a pretty neat formula when it comes to doing just some spot concealing. The Milani did pretty well though, so we're not gonna rag on her too much. I'm gonna set my under eye with the NYX HD Finishing Powder. I do like this powder because it is so very fine. It can get a little white cast if you apply just a hair too much, so just kind of be aware of that. And I will also blot my eyelids to make sure that they are not tacky for when I apply shadow. I'm going back to an oldie but goodie to set my face. It's the Rimmel Stay Matte. Oh, I guess I'm using like Rimmel mattifying products today. It's the Rimmel Stay Matte pressed powder. This is in transparent. pressed powders and finishing powders and loose powders, I don't know, kind of surged as far as popularity recently. There were a lot of releases, and so this poor guy got tucked all the way into the back of my beauty drawer. But it's a winner at like $4.99 or less. I'm gonna go for the eyes now. I always do my eye makeup first. I don't know why. They say you shouldn't do that, but I always dust away and I don't care. I'm using the NYX Nude Matte Shadow. This is in the shade Blame It on Midnight, which doesn't make sense to me because it's a really awesome crease shade. So I don't know what it has to do with midnight. It's a very nice warm brown. By the way, this is a Morphe brush. This is the M513. It is not the MAC 217, which would completely blow the budget. For your own sake, I probably should have started with like my blush and contour because this whited out face is pretty scary. Okay, I'm gonna take an outer corner color. This is by L'Oreal. They come in these little fancy kind of rounded squares. I forget what this is just called the Color Riche. I think it has a longer, fancier name, which they've decided not to put on the packaging, but this is in Quartz Fume, number 204. Just a really pretty, kind of rich brown, kind of like an espresso brown. So I'm going to take, this is actually a Makeup Geek brush, and I'm gonna focus it on the outer corner of my eye. These are a little bit creamy, so you'll see that I'm kind of poking myself in the eye here, stabbing myself in the eye, because with the powder you might want to kind of brush it on, but like I said, these being a little bit like of a cream finish, you just really want to poke yourself, which is why it is so important to have very friendly brushes. I'm going to take my crease brush and use that to blend that guy in. Again, because he's a little bit creamy, you have to be a more forceful blender. I'm gonna take a teeny tiny little e.l.f. brush. This is like my favorite brush on the entire planet. It's $1 and it can do so many things. What I'm gonna have it do for me today is taking that same colory shadow. So I'm gonna apply some shadow now underneath my eye. Kind of bring that outer corner color and bring it around. Give myself a little creamy shadow liner. Why did I go southern right there? Okay. Now I'm going to go to the lid, and I'm going to use also by L'Oreal. So apparently Maybelline holds the market on concealers, and I feel as if L'Oreal holds the market on the eyes, particularly the shadow right now, and then wait till you see what happens with mascara. Okay, so this is the Infallible Amber Rush shadow that comes in this little, kind of a little jar. So it's a pressed loose powder. I don't understand that. It's a pressed loose powder. So it won't fall out. So help me if it fell out right now. It won't fall out, but it's loose enough that it has to have that little hat on itself in the package. And if you stab it hard enough, like I just did, you'll throw powder everywhere. So I'm taking another Wet n Wild brush, and I'm going to apply this right to the lid. Yum! This color is gorgeous. So let's do a little liner. This is also by L'Oreal. This is the Infallible 12-Hour Super Slim. It is a felt tip liner. Whether you're comparing it to the Kat Von D tattoo liner or ink liner, it is not the same, but it is close. But I still, every time I use this, I miss the Kat Von D. The wrinkles are beginning to set in outside my eye, so I sometimes find myself having to pull and tug, which probably isn't good, but I have to pull and tug in order to apply a nice smooth line. So now that I just kind of dogged this liner a little bit in comparison, that went on so nicely just now. So we prime everything around here. We prime our face, we prime our eyelids. I'm going to now prime my lashes with the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. I talked about this in I think it was a haul, and I was very doubtful, and I really should not have been, because this primer, I think they like majorly improved it from previous primers. P.S. You do have to let the primer dry. Okay, so we're gonna let those dry, and I'm gonna move on to my brows. And I have to say, oh my gosh, it's L'Oreal again. Clearly, I have some drugstore favorite brands as well. Okay, so quick disclaimer. I'm going to be using the Brow Stylist Definer, which I think is really great. I still love my Anastasia way too much by comparison. I think I might like this a little bit more if I get one shade lighter. I think this is the brunette. I think I need the blonde. So, but we'll see what happens. It might get a little scary. It might get a little Charlie Chaplin-ish. But I'm gonna start with the Brow Stylist Plumper. So I apply this first to kind of get rid of the foundation on my lashes and just kind of see where my lashes are full so that I can then follow up with the pencil. So I feel like by going in with the colored gel first, like I said, it kind of predefines my lashes, and then I get to use much less pencil because most of my brows have already been filled in. I'm afraid to touch my face right now because I think that this pencil is too dark. Okay, I have to do some major brushing because I feel like it's a little dark. It's okay, but the brushing will kind of lighten it up just a hair. I can't ever finish my brows without touching the inner corner with my finger to just dull it out so it doesn't look like a stencil is now sitting on top of my eye. Okay, I'm gonna take some L'Oreal mascara. This is the Telescopic Carbon Black, my favorite mascara on the planet. Before I was using primer, I would just apply a coat in order to lengthen my lashes. Now that I've got a primer on there, I don't wanna overdo it. So I am just going to take the lengthener and add it to the ends of my lashes where I want to put the length. So while step 2 of my lashes are drying, I am gonna go in and highlight my brow bone. I'm gonna be using by Wet n Wild the Color Icon Individual Single Shadow. It actually says Brulee Creme, and I was like, Brulee Creme? That doesn't sound right. It says Brulee and then Creme Brulee. I don't know why they have to confuse me like that. And I'm just gonna highlight my brow. Now I gotta go in and volumize my lashes from the root. On top of that primer, I'm using the L'Oreal. This just should have been like a L'Oreal, like Maybelline with like a splash of Milani. Jeez. The L'Oreal Voluminous Feline Mascara that they just came out with that I am in love with. And I'm gonna start at the base, cover up all of that whiteness of the primer. Do a little wiggle if you feel like it. But focusing on the bottom because that's where I want my lashes to look their fullest. Back to the L'Oreal Telescopic, I'm gonna use that to line my lower lashes as well because this comb is really small and can get in there very, very nicely. Let's contour, shall we? I am gonna use by L'Oreal the Infallible Pro Contour. I couldn't decide actually. I was interested in using the one by City Color. I do have the one by Maybelline, but I like the shading on this L'Oreal one. And so I'm gonna take a Real Techniques brush and we're gonna powder and tap and just go in real nice and light. I have not been using this to contour. This is a great contouring brush. This is the Real Techniques contour brush. I'm gonna bronze with the NYX. Thank God it's NYX and not L'Oreal. I'm gonna bronze with the NYX matte bronzer. I'd probably use this a little bit more too if it wasn't, I feel, dark. This is medium. And the light I felt like looked a little bit, almost a little bit orange. And so because it's so intense or so dark, I'm gonna actually take a stippling brush. This one again by Wet n Wild because I want there to be very minimal color because it's gonna be colorful all on its own because it's so dark. Okay, well I can make it work if I barely put any on. I'm gonna go with some highlighter first, and Rebecca hilariously wanted to claim the fact that she was the first to announce, and I will yield because I think my discovery of this went up after hers did. This is by Essence, the Pure Nude Highlighter in Be My Highlight. How cute is that? I found this because when I talked about it, I think it was in a haul, the display was massive and you couldn't miss it. So it's a nice warm, subtle highlight. So I'm kind of switching things up and I apply my highlighter before my blush. So this is now a flashback. The blush I'm gonna use today, and I'm gonna give you an alternative in case you can't even. This is by CoverGirl. It's the Cheekers blush. It's the one that smells like Noxzema or something. It has a very strong scent, and I'm not even saying the scent is pleasant, but it takes me back to when I was younger, and because I use this all the time. I'm using the shade Iced Cappuccino, and it's a really just pretty blush. So I feel like that one can't count because nobody ever talks about them anymore. No, I have not had that one since high school. Good God, that was ages and ages ago. But if you can't take it, my recommendation then, the other one I was gonna use is by Milani. This is the one that looks like the rose. And this is just kind of that muted rose one. It's called Romantic Rose. Really pretty. But I couldn't resist. I had to talk about, like, if I did the video, how you did your makeup in high school, it would be Cheekers blush, concealer, mascara, and a lip liner that I used to fill in my lips. That was my makeup in high school. I went to Catholic school and there was no makeup allowed at that time. Almost done. So I'm going to use by Jordana the Easy Liner Lip Liner in Tawny, which is like $3 or something silly. I am going to fill in my lips. I should have started talking before I started applying lip liner. I'm going to fill in my lips because the lipstick I'm going in with afterwards is a little bit lighter and I don't want the 1990s how I did my lipstick in high school effect. So I am going to line my lips and fill in. I'm gonna go in with a Maybelline matte lipstick. This is Daringly Nude, and it is. I'm gonna touch it off with a little bit of gloss, also by NYX. This is the Butter Gloss in Creme Brulee, which ironically is pink, and that Creme Brulee by Wet n Wild, that was basically creamy beige. So I don't know what color Creme Brulee is supposed to be, but I didn't think it was pink. My very last item is a cheater because it has to be the travel size because the full size L'Oreal Infallible Pro Spray and Set is about $15, but when you find it tiny, it's less than 10. So I'm gonna set my makeup. So that is my finished look using all products that were $10 or less. I had some high school flashbacks. All in all, it was a really good time. What's your favorite less than $10 beauty product and makeup product? Please let me know in the comments down below. I'd be excited to learn about that. Please subscribe if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for tagging me. I will link her channel down below. And thanks so much for spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. In the meantime, thanks.
Hey. I don't know why I like saying that. It always cracks me up, though I cannot say it with a straight face. Hey. It is so noisy outside right now. Someone is mowing, someone is hammering. I think there's a woodpecker or something going on outside. So I have my windows closed, and I am so hot right now. I can feel the line of sweat dripping down the center of my back. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna bronze my hair just a little bit. I now have a three-step mascara process. I really should just put on false lashes, but I happen to have pretty decent lashes. Actually, I have pretty fabulous lashes. I really shouldn't even deny the fact that I was blessed with such really good lashes, and I don't want to mess with them and ruin them or piss them off by introducing glue, making them jealous of the lashes that I were to put on because they would then feel as if they weren't good enough even though they were so fabulous. What am I